You have been handpicked, and the timing of this message couldn't be better. This is the direct result of God's predetermined plan. It couldn't have happened by chance. Your spirit is calling, your purpose is calling, and something powerful within you is about to sprout. And that is why you have come to this place. The moment has come for you to pass away after you have silently endured, fought heroically, and exhibited genuine affection. You are not a random person. You have been and will be chosen, and this message will remind you of that. When you look back on your life, have you ever felt like your purpose was to have a lasting impact rather than merely to stay alive? There will be times of solitude, tears, sacrifices, and disagreements along the way. It is not an easy road. Whatever may have happened, today we will unveil the divine blueprint that lies within your story. You loved like Christ, fought like David, and will rise like a king. Goes beyond being a mere poetic phrase. It is a call to action. Every part holds a deep truth regarding your spiritual path, who you are, and what lies ahead. The 7 chapters that make up this message will describe the journey of the chosen one, which is your journey. Whether you are embarking on a new path or are in the midst of a difficult circumstance, this message will awaken a divine quality within you. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $100 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom, for you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. Be sure to subscribe, share, and like this post before we begin. This is more than just content. It is an impassioned call to the chosen ones, delivered by a prophet. If your soul is sensing 55, please write it down in the comments. That is the indication that you are awake, aligned, and ready to soar. It is a message from the Most High. You will not be allowed to complete the process until you have been really picked. Every single word contains a hidden meaning. If you sense your spirit dragging you back, just listen again. Rather than being an anomaly, this serves as validation. You were summoned here, not found by chance. Now we can begin. Being chosen does not indicate that you are better than other people. It does not indicate that you have become famous or successful. Being chosen means you are being designated for a mission greater than yourself. It's a divine calling that goes beyond your achievements and touches your very essence. Being selected is a profound spiritual difference. You have probably been following that calling for some time now without realizing it was named that if this message resonates with you. Even at a young age, you clearly have an identity that is all your own. Even though you couldn't put your finger on it, you knew you didn't belong in that group. You spent a lot of time by yourself, pondering deeper issues, while other individuals sought affirmation from large groups. You might have been the outcast, the one who kept to themselves, the overly emotional one, or the one that others said was too much. Conversely, you weren't over the top, you were marked. Your frequency was so high that most people couldn't understand it, because they moved to a spiritual beat that other people can't keep up with. Selected individuals are often misunderstood. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. You carried a lot of emotional weight, while others didn't. Silence allowed you to perceive energy in places, see through facades, and know the truth. Even when other people chased after fame and fortune, you sought the fulfillment that only a fulfilled life could provide. That longing was more than just a coincidence. It revealed your true nature. The flip side is that you have to be willing to put yourself out there before you can rise in that calling. It was necessary to be removed before you could be raised up, just as David was anointed king while tending sheep in the wilderness when God sent Samuel to anoint him. You were likewise chosen in silence, unnoticed by men, but not by God. You were summoned in the shadows. Your calling was shrouded in mystery, even as his own father cast doubt on his worthiness. Nothing that God has ordered can be reversed. Your journey starts here. Hit subscribe now and step into your purpose. Don't miss what's coming. As you quietly prepared while others basked in the limelight, you picked up knowledge that others missed. In the midst of pain, you discovered how to pray, how to persevere while others turned a blind eye, and how to discern God's voice in the stillness of the night. You were being prepared for the position of king in the middle of nowhere. It is divine development, not only divine favor, that is the hallmark. The opposite is true. Being chosen usually makes things more difficult, not easier. Reason being, you're not only standing up for yourself, you're also changing generations' traditions and leaving a mark. This is the crux of your problems and the reason your journey is unique. Making friends was never your goal. Rather, you were made to build. You were never meant to follow if you were born to lead. Having said that, God had to refine you privately before he could elevate you publicly. When you've been on the receiving end of rejection, remember that it's usually just a way to refocus your efforts. Always keep in mind that God reveals his secrets to those who are lonely, in case you have ever felt that way. Keep in mind that delays are signals of divine protection, not rejection. When things take longer than anticipated, you weren't being punished so much as prepared for what lay ahead. You have become stronger for what is to come as a result of every challenge, every loss, and every period of calm. Someone has made an impression on your life, and it's starting to show. You have undergone a complete transformation and are merely at the beginning of your journey. You did more than just survive. You thrived. You went beyond just survival. You gained wisdom and insight because of it. These are the marks of a chosen person. Not flawlessness, but purpose. Not ease, but perseverance. And not praise, but anointing. You are here at this precise moment because you were selected, designated, summoned, and set apart. To put it another way, you need to love like Christ loved. It is insufficient to claim that Christ's love was mild or courteous. Rather, it was extreme, unyielding, and selfless. His love did not cease with those who loved, believed, or supported him. It persisted even toward his enemies, who rejected, insulted, abused, and crucified him. Love did not stand on the shoulders of feelings, but of purpose. Following Christ's example of love entails keeping a soft heart in a world that tries to harden it, choosing compassion over vengeance when you should be angry, and not hardening your heart at any costs. If you aspire to be counted among the selected, this is the road you have taken. Many of the people who have meant the most to you have turned their backs on you. Even though you wanted justice with all your being, you choose to forgive. Instead, they have received support from others who would never consider doing the same for you. Because of you, they have seen you. It is more akin to yielding to God's will than naivety. While you were quietly wondering who would ever be there for you, you lifted up others, encouraged them while you were going through tough times, and gave a little of yourself when you were exhausted. You accomplished all this while simultaneously inspiring those around you. That is an expression of godly strength, not weakness. Meaningful reflection of Christ in one's words and deeds is what it means to do so. It is rare for Christ-like love to provide earthly reward. More often, it brings emotional pain, spiritual weariness, and disappointment. But you kept choosing love. You kept your heart open, and you kept pushing past your bitterness and contempt. Why is that? For some reason, you seem to have an innate understanding that loving is your life's work, and you manage to keep your cool under pressure. Your heart still beats with compassion, even when it has been broken. Your exceptional work is the main basis for your selection. The depths of your heart are beyond the comprehension of this world, yet heaven can see right through you. Your heart reflects heaven. Love never fails to be seen by God, no matter the cost, the agony, or the lack of appreciation you may receive. Not because it's easy, but because it's the right thing to do. You choose to be a lighthouse in a dark world, to love the unlovable, and to extend mercy when others set boundaries. It is the love of the chosen, the love that is Christ-like, and you are able to endure it well. David was more than just a tranquil shepherd tending to sheep in pastures. He was a hidden warrior. David had always been a fighter, even before he had stepped foot on a battlefield or wielded a sword. In the secret of the jungle, when no one was watching, he fought lions and bears. Fighting for what was properly his, he did it not for fame or fortune, but for the satisfaction it brought him. His battles started off in secrecy, out of sight from the public eye, but never far from God's. In the backdrop, he battled them. Instead of being an impulsive display of courage, David's confrontation with Goliath was the culmination of a life full of unsung triumphs. Above all else, David did not fight for the glory, admiration, or self-promotion that would come from it. He stood firm in his faith and battled for what was right, all while others fled in fear. He did it all in the name of the Lord. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. You have fought alongside David. Although some of your disputes have surfaced, the vast majority of them have remained hidden. I spent many nights battling emotions like fear, worry, and self-doubt. These conflicts were fought within your mind. You had to battle spiritual antagonism, desertion, and betrayal from the larger society. Even though there was darkness and silence all around you, you persisted. Names like disappointment, anxiety, uncertainty, trauma, rejection, and sadness were used to describe your giants instead of swords. Standing tall, you persisted. What sets you apart from the rest is that you kept fighting even when you were shaking and fatigued. You refrained from using the world's arsenal in battle. In reaction to the assault, You showed no signs of vengeance, manipulation, or arrogance. Trusting in God despite setbacks, crying, praying, worshipping, and persevering were all challenges you faced. You battled even when it seemed like nothing could change and the odds were against you. Staying in harmony with the God who called you forward was your battle, not trying to prove anything to other people. A lot of people notice how peaceful your life is now, but they don't know how many storms you had to ride out before you could relax. On the other hand, they weren't there when you cried yourself to sleep so you could try again the next day. They failed to perceive your power. No one can see the personal battles you endured to stand publicly with purpose, but they can see your personal improvement. However, God, heaven, is aware. Like David's victories, yours will be documented for all time. God was getting you ready to fight through these conflicts by molding your hands to be strong and your heart to be a leader. Your abilities were refined by every fight. Your character was shaped by every setback. And you learned to use your spiritual weapons more effectively via every trial. Your tears do not make you a weak person, and your fall did not break you. What makes you a warrior is that you got back up and kept believing that there was something greater waiting for you beyond the pain. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. David was called a man after God's own heart, not because he was perfect, but because he was consistent in his presence, worship, and resistance. You have also done it. Thanks to your David-like fighting style, success is not just possible, it's inevitable. There is no way about it. Being a legacy star is in your very DNA. The trials you endured paved the way for the triumphs that followed. You were not born to just exist. Rather, you were destined to reign. You already possess the fighting spirit of David, and this is the essence of fighting like him. Being chosen often requires a path of solitude, which is a paradox of greatness and one of the most painful truths. Even though you are being called to something incredible, the journey might be rather solitary. At his lowest point, at Gethsemane, Jesus was alone with God, despite the fact that he had 12 disciples. Despite having influential men by his side, David spent years in hiding, away from any assistance he may have hoped for. There has been a time in your life when you felt completely alone. Feelings of rejection, bewilderment, and isolation are more common than a stampede of people yelling your name when you're chosen. You felt alone even in the company of others who should have understood you. Your loved ones, relatives, and colleagues, they might have failed to see the significance of your decisions to forego familiarity with some things or take risks, or they might have failed to recognize the way that God was guiding you. But being alone is never meant to be a punishment for the chosen. On the contrary, it is a way to get ready. Like a seed being buried before it can sprout, you have been undergoing a period of molding and pruning. Silence taught you to hear God's voice more clearly and to be strong and resilient when no one else spoke to you. While everyone else was busy worrying about what to do next, you learned to sit quietly and listen for the voice of God. God molded your character, took away all diversions, and taught you to depend on His strength while you were alone. The time spent alone was not wasted. On the contrary, it set the stage for an even greater achievement than you could have imagined at the time. When you're lonely, you build spiritual muscle, confront your fears and doubts, and reveal your true self, not to other people's expectations, but to God's. Your sentiments of solitude may appear to others as emptiness, yet they are actually formation. More pruning is required for higher-level callings. Your trip has been solitary because you were chosen for something that demands a great deal of preparation. Your progress toward your objective was directly proportional to the amount of time you spent alone, and your spiritual growth and knowledge of the world were both enhanced by your interactions with God. Think of the quiet before the storm, when all the good things are happening behind the scenes to prepare you for what's to come. God will provide opportunities and people who share your goal with you as time goes on. What you're feeling now, isolation, is not the conclusion, but rather the beginning of a journey that will test your faith and perseverance. You didn't need a huge army behind you to achieve your goals. You were content to go out on your own and keep going until you reached a turning point. You have come out of your solitary path to greatness, ready to live the extraordinary life you were always meant to lead. The road was difficult, but ultimately transforming. No matter how anointed or destined a person is, they will all have to endure a time when it seems like nothing is happening. The heavens appear to be silent during this season, as if no one is listening to your prayers, and the dreams that were once so bright in your heart start to fade. In fact, these experiences will shape you rather than break you. Their status as sacred will remain unchanged, regardless of how they feel about it. Rather than signs of the divine being missing, they point to the divine being prepared. Think of Joseph, who had a dream when he was 17 years old, but was nevertheless enslaved, falsely accused, and imprisoned despite the dream. His optimism was not dashed, but rather refined. After 40 years of caring to sheep in the wilderness, Moses was summoned by God from the burning bush. Before beginning his public ministry, even Jesus lived a life of relative seclusion for 30 years. Never on intention was the silence skipped. On the contrary, it was the wellspring of purpose. While you pondered, waited, and observed others progress, it seemed like your life was put on hold. These things have happened to you as well. It looked like the promise was becoming delayed. Doors were staying closed, and nothing was changing. You cried out to God, asking Him to explain. Now imagine if the lack of movement wasn't due to inaction, but deliberate planning. God presented you with habits that needed shattered and ideas that couldn't accompany you to the next level during this time of quiet. He restored health to wounds that had been buried so deeply that you had forgotten they were bleeding. The ground He laid for you was sturdy enough to support your vocation, and He instructed you to stay firm so that you wouldn't crumble under the pressure of fame. Quietness is a sacred place where roots can spread farther. The fruit is easy to celebrate, but the power that lasts comes from the roots. Rather than having the largest number of branches, the most storm-resistant trees are those with the deepest and widest network of roots. God has been firmly establishing you in truth, humility, faith, and trust as you have been descending. This is due to the fact that collapse can occur if there is no basis and only height. God transformed your character by showing you how to be faithful with little, how to refine your intents, and how to find your identity in His Word rather than in human praise. God taught you all of this while you were alone. In order to avoid being swallowed up by the din, He emphasized the importance of being silently strong. Do not hurry through the peaceful season. Instead, enjoy it to the fullest. The goal here is not punishment, but preparation. Failure is not an option, but a necessary step toward growth. When the seasons change, and they will, you'll come to see that the seemingly insignificant was really crucial. The stillness was a fertile ground where fate was shaped. You should be alert that something major is happening in the background if God is keeping you waiting. He does not squander time. The moment the stillness is broken, all the constraints that tried to bind you will likewise fall. So, keep believing, keep praying, and don't waver. When your time comes, the world will see the strength you've built up in solitude, and the silent season is the chapter before the breakthrough. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in His divine mission and contribute to His greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, His protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of His sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like His mighty rock. Experience God's miracles. Feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. Heaven has been preparing you for this time, and it is almost here. The transfer. Your love was selfless, like Christ's, even if it broke your heart. You, like David, battled with the stealthy bravery that comes from within, winning battles that no one on earth could have seen. Right now is the chance to stand tall like a king. Realize that the rise of a genuine king is not about becoming famous or powerful. A real king or queen does not ascend to power to receive service, but to provide it. They do not rule, but to deliver. Your elevation is more than just a reward for making it through the wilderness. It is also a mandate to lead others out of their own personal wilderness experiences. You have risen from the dead for a reason, and that reason is holy. It doesn't matter if you'll never meet the people whose lives are connected to your obedience. Your loyalty will impact their lives nonetheless. Your courage will inspire someone else to find their inner strength again, and your testimony will break the bonds that have held you back. Your ascent is for the benefit of more than just yourself. It will also benefit your community, your family, and the generations to come. Saul sought out David after his clandestine anointing and subjected him to trials in caves. On the other hand, when God said, "Now," the rising could not be stopped. He was sure to rise in the right way, full, humble, and ready, because the delays were divine detours. Similarly, you feel the effects. Even though you have been through fire, it has not engulfed you, but rather refined you. Both pride and terror were extinguished by the fire. Putting your trust in God's timeline meant giving up control of your own. Rather than coming out of it as a helpless victim, you'll come out of it as a vessel of purpose, growing in wisdom, strength, sharpness, and refinement through the darkness and silence. You are a chosen one, having been anointed. Your crown may not be built of gold, but of things like inner strength, clarity, influence, or tranquility after past storms have ravaged you. A true monarch is one who rises not by his own ego, but by the might of God. It is the hallmark of an authentic monarch. Make sure you're climbing with complete certainty. God has already decided what will happen, and nothing can change it. Obedience, subordination, and thorough preparation are the building blocks of your rise, not hype. Nothing this side of heaven can break the seal that God has placed. Stay strong and support the decision that has been taken. Once God gives you the signal, go confidently, lead with humility, love sincerely, and serve honorably. You would be an excellent choice for this. This is more than just elevation. It may be described as activation as well. A leap into the unknown awaits you. The kingdom's monarchs will pull themselves up as they rise. They will build, bless, and give thanks to the one who helped them. You are becoming the type of king that acts just like that. A king's ascension is more of a legacy-making ceremony than a public spectacle. It is more of a mantle than a title. The procedure really took place, the fire was pivotal, and the expectation is now coming true. All this has not been for your own survival. You have been chosen to govern, and now the world will witness the power of a life surrendered to God. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Keep in mind that being picked was about more than just you. It was about more than just your climb, recovery, or victory.